I always liked John Grisham books, and Skipping Christmas was one that I just breezed right through and really enjoyed. And when they were going to adapt it for the screen, I thought, wow, this is actually kind of fun. They cast Dan Aykroyd, and Tim Allen's fine. But I thought, okay, this could be okay. And then we got Christmas with the Cranks, and I don't always know how to put my finger on it, but this movie, it's in the regular rotation. We own it, and yet it's always sort of like a letdown. Like it's always okay. Like it's never something that I'm just always thrilled about. It's also never, and maybe it's because I read the book. Maybe that's my fault. I shouldn't have read the book. But basically, the premise is their only daughter is leaving on like a Peace Corps type thing. She's gonna be out of the country for Christmas. They had done the bookkeeping, and Tim Allen's character is like, man, we spent like thousands of dollars on Christmas. We could just go on a cruise and save money. We just don't have to spend any money on anything. It's just so nothing. So the entire premise of the movie is they're not going to do any of the Christmas shenanigans. They're not going to light their house. They're not going to buy a tree from the local charity. They're not going to do anything. So it's skipping Christmas, right? And it creates all sorts of stress and anxiety in the community. It puts them in awkward situations. Jamie Lee Curtis plays the spouse, and she's caught in the middle of some of these kinds of things because she doesn't want to deal with some of this stuff. And she's blaming him for putting this idea even forth. So there's great conflict with the neighbors and those kinds of things. So some things are really played for laughs well. Some things, yeah, not so much. So um, anyway, so this is the general feel of things, and you can see how they did a good job of capturing sort of like, here's the family with Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis and their daughter, and they're really into Christmas. So this is Frosty. All the houses have this massive decoration that they all undergo with these Frosties on their roof, and there's Claire, their daughter. They're going away. She's going away. This was all this like kind of emotional thing. Tim Allen's character was really bad in this early part of the movie. Like he seems very, he's supposed to really be into his daughter and a family man and stuff, and yet it didn't ever connect right for me. Like as I rewatched it for this review, that was one thing I picked up on. So anyway, she's emotionally a wreck, almost like to a fault, and then he is. Seeing himself on this like cruise. Like, we're going on this cruise. We're going to do all this stuff. It's going to be fun. And the weirdest thing for me is I almost feel like part of what doesn't work is the two of them are cast in the leads. And maybe if this was recast, it might work a little bit better. But it's almost like Christmas for the sake of doing Christmas. So, because the moral of the show is the moral of the movie is that there's so much more to Christmas than all of your activities and all these different things that you're doing, right? Like you're getting caught up in the fact that you spend this money and you do these things and you have this party and you do all this stuff, but like the whole point is the value of your time and togetherness and all those kinds of things. So the film really does showcase how superficial a lot of people are and their practices. That part is what drives the movie fairly well, and it creates conflict for Tim Allen's character because he's already bought in on this trip, and then it's not going to work out. That's the twist is that the daughter's going to come home. Anyway, so nothing's happening. I want to get to this quick little shot. The skipping Christmas stuff's happening. Um, and this is the neighbor who calls him old man. They have this white cat that Tim Allen. They play up like the Shaggy Dog type stuff, and there, of course, is Frohmeyer, which is Dan Aykroyd. And I have to say, this is him hissing at the cat, the whole Shaggy thing. I just maybe that's part of it too. It's like the worst of the Tim Allen's comedy is what manifests in this movie. No tree. Um, anyway, so whenever the daughter unexpectedly comes home, they have to figure out how are they going to get Christmas back? How are they going to showcase Christmas as they normally would rapidly? And that's kind of we end up with these ridiculous scenes like this where they're moving a tree across the parking lot. So let me go back and show you um, Frohmeyer. And then, of course, like I said, the hissing like the cat, all these kind of no gifts, and then stuff falling and shenanigans happening. All of this was fine. Yeah, this was he sprays the cat, so the cat's frozen. Gag like the Shaggy Dog type humor is what that kind of stuff is, and this is them chanting for Frosty and that kind of absurdity. And like I said, some of this stuff that does work is because it's showcasing that they're going through the motions and doing things, and there's not a lot of mean. It's more like just you're not doing the practice. So Aykroyd's character does fine. They do a little gag where he doesn't want to let go. She drives off, and his gloves get caught in the thing. Hadn't been done before at the time when it made me laugh when it first came out. This is the announcement of they're coming home, and then uh, just the endless shenanigans that it involves trying to pull all of that sort of scale back in. And it's fun and it's fine. It's safe. It's just sort of like part of our Christmas rotation. But if you've never seen it, I have to keep your expectations low. This is like a 2 on my scale of 5. Like it's just a very satisfactory, fine, pleasant Christmas film. There's nothing that particular. I hate to say I like the idea of doing remakes because I am not a remake kind of guy, but I feel like Skipping Christmas could be done right, and they didn't do it in this movie. Like it's not quite there. So don't know what you're going to do in this age of comedy and lack of sort of like comedic people when you had someone like Allen and Aykroyd in this, and it still didn't quite hit the home run. But definitely good elements, but not necessarily a home run either. So anyway, I'd love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching. I am Pops.